Hi everyone, it's me. And if you don't know who me is, I am Brandon. Okay, so I just got done rewatching Victorious on Netflix, and if you are like me and you grew up watching Victorious, you were pretty much excited for it to be on Netflix again. It was on there a while ago, and like if you had Netflix, like OG Netflix, not the they send you it in the mail, but like when you first got to stream from home, you watched Victorious on Netflix. At least I did. Um, then it got taken off for however many years, and now it's back. And I just got done rewatching it, and I loved it. I binge watched it, and I went through an obsession with it. So kind of pathetic, but it is what it is. If so, I'm gonna be doing. I'm doing this video because I stumbled upon some articles, a video basically about Dan Schneider, and I just wanted to give my thoughts, and because I kind of feel sick to my stomach right now from hearing everything. So if you don't know who Dan Schneider is, you are probably living under a rock. Just kidding. You probably just didn't recognize the name. So if you watched iCarly, Big Time Rush, or not Big Time Rush, Drake and Josh, Zoe 101, Victorious, there was a few other shows I believe he made. The Amanda Bynes Show, obviously. I think he made one more, but it got canceled. But that was after I was done with my Nickelodeon phase. So, Dan Schneider was pretty much a powerhouse for Nickelodeon. So he brought in all these shows. He brought the network a shit ton of money from these shows. And if you look him up on Google, like if you type in Dan Schneider, he's pretty disturbing. And this is not a weight thing. So before anybody goes saying I'm fat shaming him, I'm not. It's just like the pictures of him with these younger stars who were minors at the time are pretty much disturbing, and it kind of just speaks for itself what all of this is. And like, don't judge a book by its cover. Like, don't judge things off of one look. But if you probably all know what I'm talking about. Everybody knows about Dan Schneider as of right now. So I'm gonna give my thoughts, and here is like how creepy Dan Schneider actually is. So, if you watched Nickelodeon, like OG Nickelodeon, you knew that the logo wasn't always a splat, it was a foot. And this pretty much goes into Dan Schneider's incredibly large and very, very creepy foot fetish. I do not trash anybody's fetishes. And I don't like the word fetish because I just think it's gross. But if you're into what you're into, that's up to you. My sister thinks I have a foot fetish, but I'm like, no, I do not have a foot fetish, first of all. My dude is a pretty sexy ass dude. So if I want to like lick his foot, I'm gonna lick his foot. I'd say, can I suck your elbows? So I don't have a foot fetish. Feet don't bother me. They never have. I just don't have an issue with it like other people do. But Dan Schneider's foot fetish is like on a whole nother level. Let's just say that when you watch Nickelodeon shows, you don't realize it when you're that young. You don't realize all of the foot, um, what is it called? Like the foot things that are in the episodes. There's a lot of feet. You don't realize all of them when you're that young and watching it. I've never found feet entertaining. Like I don't find them laughable. I don't. Ow, my hair. Ow, my hair. I went to sleep with my hair damp last night, and I woke up with it like a mess. I have a small like tangle in my hair. Like what the fuck? I'm gonna slowly pick this out because if you just rip it, that's how you get split ends. So, but I did never realized the foot fetish, and like I've never had an issue with feet. Like they've never bothered me. My dude, on the other hand, like he has some like he takes care of his feet, so like he's attractive to me. Like everything about him is attractive to me. Like if I could have a fetish for his hands or his elbows, I would do that. Like, but so I'm not gonna sit here and rag on people's fetishes. But if your fetish has to do with young kids, minors, there's an issue, and that's when I'm gonna talk shit about you. I'm not sorry about that. You are a creep. He So when you're watching the Nickelodeon, I'm all over the place. I don't really give a fuck. So when you're watching the episodes or the shows, whatever you want to call it, you see all these feet things come up, and you're like, oh, some people are amused by that, but like I was not. I don't know what people's parents thought when they watched that and saw the foot things pop up, but like they had a shit ton of foot stuff in iCarly and Victorious a lot. Like I'm sure people would know about like the Ariana Grande. Like I think it was never in an episode, but they did like a for the slap.com, they would do like little skits for the website. And one of the things was, first of all, Tori had to get her feet, like Andre poured ketchup all over her feet, and she like made her feet dance. Ariana Grande, Kat, was like sucking on her big toe, on her own big toe. So it's just like there's some weird ass shit in iCarly. They drew like faces on their feet and afros on their feet, and Drake and Josh I know had one too. Oh my gosh, like just thinking about it makes my stomach turn. So I think it's really bizarre that like nobody noticed it before, but like there is a woman she's now a woman. She went to an event back in like I don't know what year it was, I forget. She basically was trying to get on Nickelodeon for one of their new shows, something like that, like a Nickelodeon gig, maybe like an extra or something like that. No, I don't think it was an extra though. So there's all these kids there, and basically they had to go into Dan Schneider's office, and before they went in, they had to take off their shoes. And when you were on camera in the casting room, you had to like run around the room in your bare feet and basically explain why you love being barefoot. If that's not an issue, I don't know what is. And I don't know why the agents of those kids did nothing. And that girl who gave that story, her mother was like looking around, was like, something is not right about this. Like this doesn't seem right. And if I was a parent and I went there, and let's say they wanted to take their shoes off and like run around, and I'm not even in the room with them, that's fucking weird. And if my kid is on camera barefoot and these old dudes are just sitting there, and I know who knows what they do with the footage of casting auditions, I would never trust it. I would never. And if I was an agent of one of those kids and you were putting that kid in harm's way, you're an idiot. And you need to be put away just as much. What's that one saying that if you are letting things happen, you're just as bad as the person doing it? Like if you're letting somebody get bullied and you're just a bystander, you're just as bad as the bully. So if you're letting these things happen to these kids, you're just as bad as the people doing whatever weird ass shit they're doing with these kids. My hair isn't cooperating with me, but what's new? It wouldn't be one of my videos if my hair wasn't like a mess. But so that's like really really weird. There isn't. I know a lot of people have heard this next example, but there is this extra on the Amanda Bynes show. I'm gonna get to Amanda Bynes in a minute. Who basically said that Dan Schneider told him or her. I heard that it was a dude, but I'm not positive. Told them that I bet you aren't. I bet you're ticklish, and the extra was like, no, I'm not. So the Dan Schneider pedophile took this person into his office and basically gave him a foot massage and paid for it. Like what the fuck? What the fuck? And Amanda Bynes spoke out about it. I wish I remembered the source. I remember reading about this forever ago. Not forever ago, but when it first came out, Amanda Bynes shared that she was molested by Dan Schneider. And everybody thought she was crazy. Everybody thought because she was on drugs or in and out of rehab, whatever was going on with her at the time, people thought she was crazy. Now when people think of Amanda Bynes, they think she's crazy and she's nuts, blah, blah, blah. But if what she was saying was true, it's pretty fucked up that nobody believed her because everybody thought she was crazy. And it's just so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. Who knows how long she had to live with that? Like when was that car just drove like in the middle of the street? What the hell? What year was the Amanda Bynes show? 90s? Early 90s? Or late 90s? Early 2000s? What the fuck? Why are all these cars driving in the middle of the road? But it's, maybe there's oh, yep, there's a car. But, yeah. And it's just so, I feel so bad for her because if that is true, um, she spent all this time not saying anything, and then when she finally does speak up, people are saying she's crazy, and like that's just it's fucked up. But yeah. So back to what I was saying about the dude. He has a foot fetish. Um, and one of the most fucked up things is that there was a guy working on one of the shows, and he had molested one of the stars on set. I don't think it was ever said who it was, what show, but basically, or maybe it was the Amanda show. Maybe this did happen on the Amanda show. Um, I'm like almost positive that this happened on the Amanda show, the Amanda Bynes show, whatever you want to say. Basically, this dude he molested this person on set, and he was guilty of it. He was found guilty of it. He went to jail. He served his time in jail, and when he was out, he came and worked on another kids show. What kids show, you ask? The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody on Disney Channel. So why because he's not allowed to work with kids. Am I like super low? Like what's going on this day? There we go. Why is he allowed to do that? Because apparently he's not allowed to work with kids, but technically if he's on a show and there's kids involved, that's allowed. Like, yeah, let that sink in. They think whatever law it is, whatever, regulation or whatever is involved, it's basically like if you're not a teacher or in the childcare work area, you're fine. Like if you're not working with if you are not in a profession that literally is labeled works with kids, blah blah blah, you're fine. So his profession is probably like whatever he does for the shows. So if there's kids involved in that show, he is not working with only kids. So apparently that's fine. That's okay for him to be doing, which is so totally fucked up. I don't give a shit. I don't get it. I don't understand. So he served his time, and who only knows what happened on Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. But it's just so, because they had a lot of extras on that show too. There's another dude who worked with one of the Nickelodeon shows. I don't know how, but he lured kids into Hollywood, and then he would have his way with them. And he was found guilty. He served his time. And what did he do when he came out? Went straight back to working with kids on TV. That's not right. That is not right. And I think that I think everybody would agree with that. And if you're not, something's wrong with you. And that's that simple. So, let's see. What else did I read? Oh, we're gonna talk about the Jamie Lynn Spears thing because like this was a huge thing on a website. I forget what it's called. This was in the documentary, not the documentary. This was like in a conspiracy video I watched. There was a website. I think what was it? Crazy Days and Nights, something like that. Basically, this user, would make posts about celebrity scandals. He would predict them before they would even happen. So he would say something, and then however long later, a scandal would come out about the celebrity he predicted about, and he was right all the time. He made a post. I wish I wish I wrote it down, but I didn't because I'm unplanned and I'm just winging this video. So he made a post about this person on a show, this young female on a show who got knocked up by a TV producer, blah blah blah, one of the biggest people in Hollywood. And then 2 months later, Jamie Lynn Spears, Britney Spears' daughter, as of course everybody knows her from Zoe 101, she announces her pregnancy, and which is basically why Zoe 101 had to stop. And everybody was in that conspiracy or that theory, that prediction or whatever that dude used on that website was about that Dan Schneider was the father. How twisted. How fucking twisted. And the user who predicted it was also like, also said there are boyfriends like in line, like on standby. Pretty much dudes who are going to be getting paid lots and lots of money to be this baby father to this child who could have been Dan Schneider's baby. We don't know Jamie Lynn, I keep wanting to say Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lynn Spears never spoke out about it. Because obviously nobody is going to speak out about this type of stuff if they want to save their job. I remember reading about this one thing where somebody had said for one of their, I don't know who it was, so who knows if this is real and who knows if this is a credible source. Somebody said that some of the casting calls and auditions and stuff would be held at Dan Schneider's home. And basically the audition would have to be them playing in the pool because that makes sense. What does playing in a pool have to do with anything getting a part on a show? Unless it's like an underwater series, but like we're humans and we can't even breathe underwater, bitch. So Megan Fox was there. Hilary Duff was there. This was also in the video I watched. They were there and they basically had to do pool activities as their audition. And it makes me so sick to my stomach to think that these dudes are just sitting back watching these kids play in the pool, like in bathing suits and shit, and barefoot. It's fucking nasty. It is fucking nasty. Dan Schneider was also mad because some show with the name Cousin, it was premiering or taking over. It was like on TV after I'd already stopped watching these shows. I don't know what it was. Moving Cousin, something like that, had Cousin in the title. They were basically going to be moving onto Dan Schneider's soundstage, which is where he was filming all of his shows. And because one of his shows got canceled, Brain Squeezers or something like that. I don't know any of these new shows, I'm sorry. Any of these newer shows, I'm sorry. But one of his shows got canceled and he was super, super pissed because it didn't get picked up, first of all. And second of all, some other show was going to be moving onto his studio set and basically going to be like partnered up, almost sharing a soundstage. So he was beyond pissed. You want to know why he was pissed? Because he couldn't get away with certain shit if other people were around. Other people that were not a part of his team and not saying shit when they knew that he was doing some wrong ass shit. I'm so funny. So yeah, I just want to say how gross. Like when I was watching this video, reading these things, I was so sick to my stomach. And it's nasty. There's also another instance where Jeanette McCurdy and Ariana Grande starred in Sam and Cat. Like, and who even watched that shit? First of all, who could even stand Cat on Victoria? She was the worst character. Everybody hates Tori. Tori was annoying at times. Cat was the worst character ever created. And who even likes Jeanette McCurdy? Like, let's be real. Would you ever watch a show with her in it? And those of you who did, you were probably like too young to even know what you were watching. So, and you're probably, yeah. Anyway, so those two starred in Sam and Cat. That didn't get watched at all because it got canceled wicked quickly. So nobody watched it, but Dan Schneider on the Sam and Cat Twitter page was telling viewers and fans to basically write Sam and Cat on the bottoms of their feet and send him pictures to get a follow on Twitter. What the fuck is wrong with people, and who is in charge of that? And if it was Dan Schneider, you're fucking weird. And who let him do that? And who is just... I would never, ever, ever be in a position where I'd let this stand just to save my job. I don't care what I was doing. I don't care if I had the dream job of my choice. I don't care if I was just living my life, working what I've always wanted to do. And if this shit was happening, I wouldn't be like, well, I'm working my dream job. I don't want to be scared. I don't care. People are like, you have to be in that position to really talk about that. I don't give a fuck, bitch. I'm not doing that. Why would I stand by? I don't get how any of these people can stand by and let that shit happen to all these people, all these kids. And why people are so fine with it. Like, if that was your kid, you wouldn't be doing that. It annoys the fuck out of me, especially with all of this Harvey Weinstein shit. Oh. And if you don't know who Harvey Weinstein is, educate yourself and read about him. I know that Rose McGowan spoke out a lot about it. She was molested by a very, very, very well-known Hollywood producer. Oh. Something just occurred to me. That's why. This is off topic, but if you guys are familiar with Scream, like the horror movies, very off topic from me talking about Nickelodeon, but pretty much everything that was happening behind the scenes of these kids' shows are horror movies, so not too far. Basically, Scream is a horror movies. There's like 4 of them. They've recently announced that they're coming out with a 5th one in 2021, and pretty much Rose McGowan was molested on the set of the first Scream movie by this man named Harvey Weinstein, and all the Scream movies were made by Harvey Weinstein production company, and now this 5th one is going to be a different production company, and that's probably why. It's not going to be Dimension Films. It's going to be Spyglass. That's why. It's like it's not why, and I'm just sitting here thinking I know shit when I don't. Anyways, so yeah, back on the Dan Schneider bullshit. Yeah, when the Jamie Lynn Spears thing, who knows if that's even right? Like, I'm not saying that I believe that, but I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised because he's a freak, and a lot of people who are put in those positions, don't speak out about it. For one, they would tarnish their career. 2, they would have to deal with a shit ton of bringing up the past or going through even more trauma than they were put in the first place. So it's just so sad. If Hollywood is what's my hair doing? Oh shit. Is one of the most unsupervised places to be when for children. And one would think like, oh, that's weird because there's constantly adults around. There's constantly, when I say supervised, I mean their parents aren't around. Trustworthy parents are not around. So if kids are put into a setting and there's a lot of adults around, they're putting them in the hands of people who are not the people they're being put with. And I'm not saying on every set and studio in Hollywood the kids are being handled inappropriately behind the scenes. I'm not saying that, but I feel like it's getting better. I feel like there are people out there who are so like just like do the right thing. And there are people out there who are still doing the wrong thing, and they're going to get found, and I'm just like, you're done, motherfucker. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to make a video about ranting about that and saying how disgusting people are, and if you are looking at children in that way, you're disgusting. If you go back and rewatch Victorious or iCarly or even Drake and Josh, I don't think they did a lot on Zoe 101. To be honest, I wasn't really a fan of Zoe 101. I hated like all the characters in it. That's just the way it is. But if you go back and rewatch iCarly or Zoe 101 or Victorious, you would see like, wow, there's a lot of foot jokes or feet being seen. Like, I just watched Victorious the other night, and like Andre had to smell some girl's foot. he like was forced to say yes to smell some girl's foot. And it's just so fucking weird. And like I said, I don't care what people are into. Like that's your own business and that's what you're into. I will, but to be honest, like when it comes to fetishes, I think like shit play is weird. That's just nasty. I don't give a shit. I said I wasn't gonna talk shit about people's fetishes, but like if you are playing with shit and if you're shitting on each other, that's just fucking weird. It's called waste for a reason and leaves your body for a reason. I read about a fetish that said this dude had a fetish of using shit as like lubrication. Every time I think about that, I just get so sick. But yeah, Dan Schneider, the fucking weirdo. It'd be one thing if he had a fetish for regular his age feet. Like I know people who like are very open. Like yeah, people would straight up admit to having a foot fetish for people who are their age, and that's one thing. I know that there are people who get like I wouldn't say I have a foot fetish, but if like we were getting down, I would definitely lick your toes. Like I was watching the reel. Adrian said that she sucks her man's toes in bed. And I was like, oh. And Tamara said she would try it. Lamar Odom sucks his woman's toes and he's very into her feet. And there's one thing about having a foot fetish, but there's another about just being into your person's feet. Like, my dude, I love. Like, everything about him, I'm like obsessed with. His feet fall under that category. It doesn't mean I have a foot fetish. It's not like I'm grossed out by feet, but it's not like I'm obsessed with them either. His are just like, you're so cute. Um, but Dan Schneider's foot fetish is ridiculous and it's disgusting because his has a lot to do with children feet and like he's making kids all around the world send him pictures of their feet. Shit, what time is it? I have to leave for work. Well, I have a dog walk today, so and I put my shirt on this morning. Well, I had my shirt off in the bathroom. But I put my shirt on this morning, and it says, and as some of you know, I do wag walking, dog walking. If you're interested in signing up with wag dog walking, I have a video about it, a review video about it. Check that out. But pretty much, I put my shirt on today in the bathroom and looked in the mirror, and I was like, why are the letters on my shirt backward? Oh, here it is. It's going to show it backward. Oh, shit. It's going to show it backward in the camera, too. I was like, what? I was like, why are the letters in my shirt backward? And I was like, oh, wait, I'm in front of a mirror. I'm like, so lame. But, yeah, that's basically what it is. I just realized my fly was down this whole video. It is what it is. But thank you for watching. Pretty much just watch what you're doing. Know not to sign your kids up for Hollywood unless you are 100% sure they are in trusted environments with trusted people. Fuck you, Dan Schneider, and fuck you everybody else who was letting you get away with what you got away with. Fuck those two little perverts who went to jail for serving time and then coming right back to work in... You know, that's the annoying thing, is when people like that get jobs right away, but people who are caught up in something wrong, or let's say they were part of some addiction of some sort, drugs, they got caught up with drugs, they went to rehab and they bettered themselves, and they're trying to better themselves in the outside world, and they can't even get a job because of what they got caught up with in the past. How are people trying to better themselves, can't get anything, but due to go to jail and come out planning to do what they just did and have no remorse? How can they get shit? The first dude I talked about who went to jail and then worked on The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, he was asked if he wanted to comment on the person that he molested behind the scenes. He said, I don't have anything to say about that. I really don't. I have no comment. I really don't. Something along those lines. I was like, ugh! I hate it. I hate it, and it gets me so riled up. It's disgusting. It's gross. And just always remember that if you think something is going on, speak out about it and don't be one of those people who don't say anything. Just speak out and stop it from happening. The more people speak out, the more this will stop happening. I hate when my hair, see how straight it is? Like, see how like semi-straight it is right there? And it just like curls at the bottom. I fucking hate it. Anyways, thank you for watching. 30 minutes is probably my coming out video was like 41 minutes. This is probably my second to longest video. I just felt very passionately about it and I wanted to film about it. So here's my video. So thank you for watching. If you are new to watching me, hello. Thank you for watching, you too. I don't tell anybody to subscribe to my channel. I don't tell anybody to like, and I sure as hell don't tell anybody to comment. Because I feel like everybody knows how YouTube works, and if you're into that sort of thing, go ahead and do it. But I don't say it. I don't find a reasoning to. And plus, I don't do it for likes. I don't do this for likes. I don't do this for comments or subscribers. I just do it because I like to hear myself talk. So, anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.